So I saw the trailer for Tekken Bloodline a couple of months ago, and I heard it was coming to Netflix, and I was very, very excited for it. And it looks like so far it's living up to my expectations. Um, I've been playing Tekken for a very long time. Tekken came out when I was 15 years old back in '94, and ever since '94, I've been a Tekken fanatic. Just get all the games, play as all the characters. Of course, my favorite characters are pretty much the main characters of the story. I've used June, I've used Jin. I have a very complicated relationship with Jin because he started out as a good guy, and then as time went on in the different types of games, he became a very bitter and evil character, declared war on the world and shit. So apparently he's going back to his I would say good guy nature now. When the next Tekken 8 comes out, I think there's gonna be the Tekken 8. He's gonna be fighting his father Kazuya, but he is the son of Kazuya Mishima, who was my favorite character when Tekken came out. Tekken 1 and 2, of course. And this adaptation of the Tekken video game and its iteration of the history of the Mishima and the Kazuma bloodline, basically that's what it is, the bloodline. It has to do with Jin becoming who he is. It's almost like the journey, like they'll say the hero's journey. I wouldn't really call him a hero here. He's just on a journey to become a better person, to become a stronger martial artist, because right now he's not at that level that he can be at when you see him in the video games, when you use him as a playable character. I like the fact that this first episode deals with him and his mother, Jun Kazama, who was one of my favorite characters in Tekken 2. The interaction between him and his mother training him and teaching him basically to become a better person and use your martial arts only for defense and not fight people just to fight. And the fact that what she was saying this is because in the beginning of the episode he's getting bullied and getting his ass whipped, what you see right here. He's got bruises all over his face. Then he winds up fighting back and kicking the living crap out of the three bullies that were messing with him, because he lives in the woods with his mother almost like as a recluse. So he's gone into the city and they're talking about, oh, stay out of the city, you don't belong here. So he got pretty pissed that they kept messing with him, and he decided to fight back, beat the crap out of them. And his mother's training him in the opening sequences in the first couple of minutes, first half of the first episode. She's basically training him to control his emotions, control his anger. And I like the interaction that we see between him and his mother, because we don't really get that in the video games. It's just like a backstory, a really quick backstory. But this is part of Tekken lore, so I think it's really, really cool that we get to see this animated. Now, there isn't a lot of character development between Jin and June, his mother, but the dynamic that we do get to see here, like I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, I like what I see. I like the fact that it shows that June she really cares for her son. When he brings up the fact about his father, I think he brought up the fact about his father, she changed the subject. She didn't really want to talk about that. They don't really go into any kind of details about the relationship that she's had with Kazuya, but maybe they will in later episodes. If they don't, hey, that's fine. We know the lore anyway between them. They got together somewhere in the tournament, and they had this child. Now, the one thing I'm going to say about this as well is that when I was a teenager, the first Tekken so-called movie came out, which was like an OVA, original video animation. It was about an hour long, and they really rushed everything because they tried to put as many characters in it as they could. But it basically revolved around the same type of characters. It was, I can tell you one thing, June was not like she is in this particular iteration. She was a little bit more of a girly girl. She's a mother here, but she's more of a fighter here than she was in the other iteration. And it was more based on Kazuya and Heihachi Mishima's relationship between each other of the first Tekken video game. And then, of course, there was also the Tekken live-action movie, which was complete shit as far as I'm concerned. Then there was also the Tekken computer animated movie that it focused basically on Xiao Yu and Alyssa, the robot girl, the cyborg girl. And the second part of that story was some character they just created out of nowhere that had ties to Jin and Kazuya and Heihachi, and he was getting in the way as they were having their big epic fight at the end. It was an okay computer animated movie, but it wasn't that great. But this right here, I'm liking how they're going into detail with the characters. Like I said, not a lot of detail because it's only like, 25 minutes an episode. I think one of the episodes might be like 29 minutes, but they do the best they can. And in this first episode, they don't explain why, but Ogre, you Tekken people out there that play the game as much as I have, you know that Ogre did kill June. They mentioned it in part 3. It never showed it, but they definitely show what happens here in this episode as she fights Ogre. They don't explain why Ogre came for her, but Ogre comes and she tells Jin to stay inside. And no matter what, don't come out. If anything happens to her, to go find his grandfather, Heihachi Mishima. And while she's out there fighting Ogre, Jin is helpless but to listen to the fighting that's going on outside of his house because he is told not to go out, but he can't take it anymore. He goes out to help his mother. I love how they animated Ogre. It looks just like him in his original form, not his true Ogre form. But this looks great. June puts up a great effort against Ogre, but she is truly no match for him. I don't know why he came for her, I have no idea. But Jin goes out there and tries to help his mother because, it's his mother. He's not going to just watch as she dies. So Jin tries to attack Ogre, and tries because his attempts at fighting Ogre fail. He kicks him in the face and then punches him in the back, and his punches are really doing nothing to Ogre except annoying him. And as Ogre turns his attention to Jin after he knocks him to the ground, it gives June the chance to get a second wind of sorts, and she attacks Ogre again, giving his attention back to her. Not much character development, as I said, with Jun Kazama, but they definitely show that she is willing to go the distance, and she's willing to do anything, go great lengths to protect her son. And I like that about this. I like the dynamic that they're showing here. She even, during the process of the fight, does her combination move, that combination kick that she does from part 2. I really can't describe it or explain it because if I try to record it, Netflix is gonna, get me with a copyright claim. So I want this video to go through. But if you watch this anime on the Netflix, you will see what I'm talking about. She does this particular combination of kicks and punches that you've probably done a number of times playing as her in Tekken 7 as well as in Tekken 2 and Tekken Tag Tournament. She manages to grapple Ogre, hold him as the place that she lived in with Jin begins to be set ablaze, and an explosion occurs shortly after as she says her final words that she loves Jin. Jin is unconscious after being knocked out by Ogre, and there's an explosion, and June dies. And of course, Jin loses his mother, and he cries. The pain of losing his parent, the only one he's ever known, hurts him deeply, but he remembers her words. If anything happens to me, go find your grandfather Heihachi Mishima. And Jin does just that. He goes to the Mishima building to meet his grandfather and is stopped by Ganyu. It looks like Ganyu, this big guy here, the sumo wrestler character from the Tekken games. And he couldn't be any more, I don't even know what word I'm looking for. I'll put it like this. He couldn't be any more obvious if he tried, because who the hell is wearing a hooded sweater out in the heat? He thinks by covering his face, he's not going to be noticed by anybody. But when he tells Ganyu in the elevator that he is Jun Kazama, that he is Jun Kazama's son, Jin Kazama, he is taken directly to Heihachi Mishima. And here, by the end of the first episode, we get our first look at Heihachi Mishima. He is big, built, and evil as ever, and I like the way he's animated here. His attitude is just as he's treated his own son, who is Jin's father, Kazuya Mishima. He takes the same attitude that he treated Kazuya with Jin. When he is told by Jin that he is indeed his grandson. He wants to fight Jin immediately after he meets him to see if he's truly a Kazuma. And of course, being the fact that Jin is so young and still inexperienced as a fighter and has not had a lot of training, he is no match for Heihachi Mishima, who has years of training and experience behind him. And Heihachi continues to knock down Jin, battering and beating the crap out of him, bloodying his whole face. He gets annoyed with Jin because Jin's not putting up much of a fight and tells him to leave and never come back. Jin refuses and gets up and wants to fight again because he wants revenge for the murder of his mother, of course, the ogre that killed his mother. Heihachi knows who Ogre is. They don't explain how, but when Jin tells Heihachi that his mother was killed by a green ogre or demon, it sparks Heihachi's interest, and I guess he remembers the name and tells Jin that the killer of his mother goes by the name of Ogre. So by the end of the episode, of the first episode anyway, of Tekken Bloodline, we get to see a little bit of character development with Jin. Not much, but he is on his journey to the path of becoming a greater fighter now. And Heihachi promises to train Jin, even if it kills him, in exchange for Jin showing him that he is a true heir to the Kazuma name. Whatever the hell that means. And I must say, I find it very interesting. I'm hooked, and I can't wait to watch the very next episode. I'll do a video on that as well. I'm going to do a video on all 6 episodes. The only reason I'm even doing this is because everybody knows that knows me. The #1 fighting game, and it's not bullshit, that I have loved ever since I was young is Tekken. I will play the fuck out of that game, even more than Dead or Alive or Street Fighter. Tekken has always been my #1, and it will always be my #1 until I die. So I can't wait to watch the next episode, but so far it is a very interesting opening. I like what they have done. I hope there's going to be more character development, because I'm pretty sure this will focus more on just the Mishimas more than any other characters. I've seen Paul in the opening. I've seen Xiao Yu, that black guy that's in Tekken 6. I forgot his name. He's gonna fit into this particular narrative somehow, but it's really gonna focus on the main characters, which I don't have a problem with, because they are what the Tekken series is really about. Regardless of if you play somebody like Martial Law, Yoshimitsu, you probably won't see those characters in this, but I know I've seen King, so King is probably going to be in these episodes somewhere before it ends, but looking very much forward to seeing what they do next with this. I really, really like what I'm seeing so far. I don't know who's behind this. I don't know who wrote the story for this, but they definitely are keeping it faithful to the game, and I like that. Maybe some other people may not like this particular anime or this particular storyline, but I like how they developed they at least tried to establish the relationship between him and his mother that we never really got to see, because we don't really get to see them interact unless we play Tekken 6. Tekken 7, or if we play Tekken Tag Tournament. That's the only way we're going to see them interact in the game. But to see them in this is really cool. So you're going to see the black guy from Tekken 7. If I said 6, I'm sorry. I'm messing up right now. I'm so sorry. But I'm kind of hyped. I love Tekken, so I'm hyped on this, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next story. So I'll do my next video probably another day or two, and hopefully people will watch it. If you don't, that's fine. But the ones out there that do watch this video, thank you very much for getting to the end. This is the end of the video now. And I'll see you soon. If you want to watch this, it's on Netflix, and it's called Tekken Bloodline. Highly recommend it so far. I'm only on the first episode, going to episode 2. I know that's still early to say recommending, but I like what I see so far. Talk to you soon, guys.